I'm Anna from Euphoria, and today I'm going to show you how to make a living succulent wreath. These guys are great because you can use them for Christmas, and then you can really keep them up all year because they're not too like in your face festive. And the lovely thing about them is they're sustainable, they use lots and lots of natural products, and they don't die at the end of the season. So you get to keep all these lovely succulents if you look after it properly. So to start with, we get the wreath ring that's in your packet. You should have in front of you a wreath ring, some rope, some mossing pins. Now they'll either be the bamboo ones here or the metal ones, depending on what's available. Some wreath wire, some succulents, and some moss. Ta-da! So to start with, we get the wreath wire and we're going to attach it to the ring here. You can wear gloves for this if you want to, but I mean, I spend so long with my hands in succulents that I'm already fully got mud underneath each one of my nails. So if you want to prevent that from happening to you, then chuck some gloves on, but there's no hope for me now, look. Oh. Right, so to start with, you will see there's a slightly weaker point in the wreath where it joins. So on this one you can see it's a slightly black bit there. So when you're attaching your wire on, just make sure you're avoiding that. Doesn't make too much difference, but it's worth, you know, belt and braces and all. So you get the wreath wire, and first of all just wind it round one of the verticals there a couple of times. Send it over in both diagonals. It's not too critical as long as it's roughly secure, so then you secure it all the way around. Okay, and from there we then wind it around the whole thing in sort of triangles all the way around, and this just helps to keep your moss, succulents and any sort of soil nice and secure, plus adds an extra layer of strength to your wreath. So I'm going to go Blue Peter on you now and show you one I made earlier. Ta-da! So if you keep going until we're all the way around, and then you don't snip the wire off, you leave it like that. Okay, so when you've got that wire all the way around, you pick up your rope, and we're going to secure that to the wreath now so that you can sort of hide the underneath part of it in moss as you go. If you forget to do this stage, it's not a problem. You can actually tie it back on once you've got the moss on the wreath. And actually, if you're making a wreath into a table centre, you might not want to use the rope at all. So basically, don't sweat it. If you forget, you can do it later. But the way that I do it is I just tie a normal knot. Is it a wreath knot? Who knows? At the end like that. So nice and tight. There we go. And when you attach it to your wire, pretend your wire's going all the way around there. Take it so the knot on the rope is like not at either end, so it's in the middle somewhere. And then you just loop it round that way. The knot is near, you can fiddle with it a bit, but that makes them sort of not hidden in the, stay hidden within the moss, so you get this lovely kind of knot free bit of rope to hang your wreath on. So this is where you'll be, and it's now that we start adding the moss. So first of all, we add a layer of moss with a little bit of soil in it. We go all the way around and do that, and that just gives you a nice secure base to put your succulents in, or ivy, or maybe gonias are quite good in there. There's all sorts of things that will go in the living wreath. So this, oh, hello. This is our lovely flat moss. It should be with you damp. I will have packaged it up for you nice and damp, but if it isn't wet, then do give it a spray, because if you try and work with it when it's too dry, it will crumble even more than it just did then when I picked it up. So this stuff's pretty forgiving, so don't worry about it too much. So we're going to tear off little bits about so big, so it's about the length of my hand-ish. I don't know how big your hands are, I mean, have to wing it a bit. So you then put that under the wreath there, where your wire is, where your wire's ended. And then we can just get a tiny bit of soil in the middle. So to get this soil, what we do is there is actually enough soil with your plants that arrive with it to add to the wreath. So we pick up our plants, and now these succulents are super hardy little things, so you don't have to worry about being too gentle with them. You might find they lose the odd little leaf, but that's fine. These wreaths need to be hardy, so if one falls off along the way, that's not a problem. And also keep a hold of any of the leaves that fall off, because sometimes you can grow brand new succulents with them. So take them out of the pot nice and gently. They should come out quite easily, because usually they're dry when we send them, because they're happier dry. These guys do not like to drink too much, unlike the rest of us at Christmas. So you get your succulent over a little bucket or a Tupperware or something, and just gently crumble away some of the soil. Again, like I said, these guys are quite hardy. I mean, don't go too crazy, don't shake them up too much, but sort of quite gently just crumble some of the soil off. It's exposing some of the roots there. So it's looking something like this, like a sort of little plug, but it's much easier to pop in your wreath. And let me see if I got anything here with chunkier roots for you to see. There we go. So this bad boy has got some much thicker roots on it, but you can still gently crumble the soil away. Like I said, they're quite hardy. Don't worry too much if you do break the odd root, but obviously aim to keep as many of them intact as you can. Give it a little roll. This one's a bit damper, so the soil isn't crumbling off quite so much. So anyway, prepare your succulents like that, and that should leave you with a lovely pot of soil to put in the middle of your moss wreath. So if it isn't damp, you could always spray it down a bit, make it a little bit wetter, because it's a bit easier to manage then. And then you sort of get a little handful of it, like a little sausage, and pop that in the middle of your soil, in the middle of your moss. Like I said, the amounts aren't super critical. If you're making a table centre and you're not actually going to hang it up, you can put a bit more in if you want it to be a bit fatter. But yeah, succulents don't need an awful lot. So put a bit in there, and you fold the moss over the top. I might put a bit more in there actually, I'm feeling generous today. Fold it over the top. Now, if you sort of overlap it, that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to just pull that bit off there so the moss goes a bit further. And do keep hold of all these little bits, because we can use them to fill in gaps and kind of fatten things up a bit later. So I'll pop that down there. Oh. Right, so from here, you then carry on in that lovely triangle-y pattern around your wreath. Just securing the moss on. You can be quite brutal with it, quite tight. Don't make your triangles too close together. You want to be leaving like a good kind of inch between the bottoms of them ish, so that in a few minutes time you can get your succulents in. So there you go. You see there, that is your first bit of moss on the wreath.